Imagine being one of the thousands in FNB Stadium right now in endless prayer, surrounded by people's cries, sounds of frustration, desperation, and to bluntly say it as it is, just people who sound like they've had enough. You know, like all these people praying, asking for God's help on this nation and all of that. Let me tell you something no one wants to admit. This is not God's problem. This is our problem. People like to shift the blame. They want to point at God and scream, "Why aren't you fixing this?" But let me tell you something that might sting. Let me put you on game real quick. God gave us everything we need. He gave us brains to think. He gave us hands to build. He gave us mouths to speak and gave us spines to stand tall. So the question isn't, why isn't God fixing this? The question is, why aren't we fixing this? The tools are already here. You see, God is not just some cosmic janitor cleaning up the mess we keep making. He's not going to clean after us. He's the creator. He's not the babysitter. He handed us a world full of resources. He gave us intellect. He gave us the ability to make choices. And what do we do with those gifts? We squander them. Look around you. The land we walk on is fertile. The oceans are filled with life. The sky gives us rain. The sun gives us light. And then we still shout like helpless victims. Why? Because it's easier to complain. It's easier to beg for divine intervention than to take responsibility. And I'm pretty sure you know that. We were given the tools, talents, the opportunities, but instead of using them, we let greed, corruption, and laziness take over. So the nation is dying. And who are the killers? We are! So let's talk about the country for a second. Our beloved nation. It's dying. Not because God has turned his back on us, but because we've turned our backs on each other. Corruption is everywhere. The people in power, those who should be leading with integrity, are looting the system. The rich exploit the poor, and the poor are left fighting over scraps. The roads are broken, the hospitals are underfunded, the schools are crumbling, and yet the politicians ride in luxury cars, building mansions with money stolen from the very people who elected them. And what do? We stay silent and go and pray in an FNB stadium. We've become so desensitized to corruption that we don't even get angry anymore. We just shrug our shoulders and say it's just how it is around here, and we move on. Ain't that right? That's not how it is. That's not supposed to be how it is. It's how we've allowed it to be. Let me tell you about the decay of morality here. Right? Because there's the decay of morality. The heart of society. Families, fathers abandoning their children. Mothers are struggling to raise their children alone. The family unit, the foundation of civilization, is crumbling. Why? Because we've forgotten our own values. People worship money. People worship fame and instant gratification, especially with such short attention spans nowadays. They want the quick fix. They want the easy road, the shortcut to success. No one wants to work hard anymore. No one wants to sacrifice. So people like me come and kill all your competition because discipline has become a dirty word. And here's the truth. Without discipline, without values, without morality, without people like me, society is doomed to fail. Why? Because we have normalized sin. We celebrate it, we glorify it, and then we call it freedom. But let me tell you something real quick. Freedom without responsibility is chaos. Look at the crime rates, the drug addiction, the broken homes. That's not freedom, that's decay. The youth are lost as well. I talk about this all the time. What about the youth? What about the future lions? What about the future of our nation? They're lost. They're glued to their phones, scrolling through social media, chasing likes and followers instead of purpose and meaning. They idolize celebrities and influencers who promote nothing but vanity and materialism. Some even promote lust to our children. They want to be rich without working because of that. Now they want to be famous without talent, respected without character. And whose fault is that? It's ours. It's our fault. We are the ones who let the education system fail them. We are the ones who let the media brainwash them. We are the ones who stopped leading by example. This is not a test. It's a warning. Because don't think this is just another phase, another challenge South Africa will somehow overcome. No. This is a warning. This is a wake-up call. And if we don't change, if we don't take responsibility, we will lose everything. This is not God punishing us. This is the natural consequence of our own actions, or rather, our inaction. So God doesn't need to punish us anyway, because we're doing a fine job punishing ourselves. So what's the solution? The solution is not to sit around waiting for miracles. The solution is not to blame God. It's not to blame the government, witchcraft, or any other thing. or anyone else rather. The solution is to take action. Number one, start with yourself, because if you want to change the world, you start by changing yourself. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming others. Stop. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I living up to my potential? Am I using the gifts God gave me? And if the answer is no, then you know where to start, don't you? Number two, rebuild the family. A strong society starts with strong families. Fathers, step up. Be leaders, protectors, and providers. Mothers, instill values into your children. Teach them discipline, respect, and faith. Don't expect daddy to do it all. And children, honor your parents and stop bothering them and strive to be better than the generation that was before you. 3, demand accountability to corruption because we let it happen. Speak up. Be accountable. Vote for people who stand for integrity. And if they are none, then be the leader you wish to see. I will repeat, if they are none, be the leader you expect to see. Number 4, it's not just about passing exams in education. It's about teaching values, critical thinking, and resilience. We need to rebuild our education system, invest in it, not just for ourselves, but for the future generations. We need to teach them how to think, not just what to think. Number 5, faith is not a crutch. It's a compass. It gives us direction, purpose, and strength. But faith without action is meaningless, trust me. Pray, yes, but also act. Faith is the spark, action is the flame. So it's time to wake up. What do I mean when I say this? I'm saying we don't need more handouts, more empty promises, or more prayers for miracles. We need action. We need to wake up, because this is not God's problem. This is ours. And the sooner we accept that, the sooner we can start fixing it. The country is dying, but it doesn't have to. The youth are lost, but they can be found. Morality is decaying, but it can be restored. The power to change is in our very hands. So here are my final thoughts. To those who cry out to God, asking why he isn't fixing this, I say he already did. Why? Because he gave us the tools, the wisdom, and the will. The real question is, what are you doing with them? So it's time to stop being victims. It's time to stop being complacent. It's time to rise. It's time to build. It's time to reclaim our dignity, our morality, and our future. This is not God's problem. It's our responsibility.